How do homemade cinnamon rolls sound? Well, let's make it easy. How about homemade cinnamon roll overnight oats? Does that sound almost as good? So maybe we'll try cinnamon roll overnight oats instead. I see everywhere that these cinnamon roll overnight oats taste just like a cinnamon roll. No, it's not a cinnamon roll, but a little tweak that I just kind of thought of, adding butter to them. Is that the key to make your overnight oats actually taste like a cinnamon roll? Well, probably won't taste exactly like a cinnamon roll, but let's see how close we can get. I'm Rebecca, I'm a non-diet dietitian and a Cooking for One expert, and I'm here to show you how to make Cooking for One easy and actually feel like it's worth it. Overnight oats is a great, easy, and versatile breakfast, and cinnamon roll overnight oats, well, it's actually one of the easiest overnight oats recipes that I have made. Like, so easy. So let's get started. Okay, now these overnight oats are so easy. I'm just gonna show you how easy they are. I'm starting with a half a cup of oats. These oats are old-fashioned oats, rolled oats. They're the same thing. You don't wanna go for steel cut or quick oats because those will be too chewy or too mushy, likely. So these are often the best. I'm next going to add some flax seeds, just for some added omega-3s, fiber, protein, texture. You can also add chia seeds to that. And I added that first because my measuring spoon has nothing in it after that. And then I'm gonna measure out kind of a heaping tablespoon of brown sugar. You can always adjust as you want, and there's a little bit of brown sugar left on that. So that's why I did the flax first. Now the brown sugar is necessary if you want your overnight oats to taste anything like a cinnamon roll. Adding any other kind of sweetener, just not gonna give you that slight molassesy flavor. Another thing too, you can always start with about a tablespoon or as much as you want of the brown sugar and then add more later if you want it to be more sweet. It's often best, easier to start with less and then add in more if you want it. I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And if you can tell, I really like these rectangular measuring spoons because they fit into spice jars really easily. I'm not measuring it out, but I'm adding, I think it's about a teaspoon of vanilla. And then finally, I like to add some yogurt to my overnight oats because it helps it feel a little bit more satisfying and makes it really creamy. So like a tablespoon or two, I probably have a couple tablespoons in that. And I can use the same spoon to kind of stir everything up. So I'm gonna quickly give this a stir. You don't actually have to stir everything together, but why not? I can talk more on this. So you can add, let's see, other spices. If you want to do like a pumpkin pie spice with this, you could do that, or you could add even some pumpkin to your oats with the pumpkin pie spice to kind of have like pumpkin inspired cinnamon roll overnight oats. You could also do gingerbread spice. There's lots of different ways to flavor these. And then finally, so as you can tell, the things that I'm measuring so far are the oats, I guess I measured the flax seeds. I didn't have to, the brown sugar and the cinnamon, because those I'd rather have those to be more close to accurate than not. And then also the milk, because there's kind of a fine balance between covering them with milk and letting them absorb and having very milky overnight oats, which is fine. It's all up to your preference, whatever you want, but because these oats absorb the liquid overnight, you're not gonna be able to tell how much you need. So these, in my experience, have come out with a tiny bit of extra liquid, but I'd so much rather have it that way than not enough. And honestly, but you can always add more. It's just a matter of having enough to hydrate the oats enough that they are soft. Now we've got our oats. I'm gonna cover them and then put them in the fridge. Overnight oats do need to be refrigerated preferably for like 4 to 6 hours, but overnight is great and super easy because you can make them the night before and then have them in the morning, or make extra batches. All right, so some cooking show movie magic. I made these actually last night, so then I can swap them. Those are the completed, done ones, and then I'm gonna, woo, that's not a one-handed thing. So just a note, I'm just making these in a regular bowl because jars are cool, but they don't need to be, you don't need to use a jar. But you do have to have something to cover these so they don't get too dried out in the fridge, and this is not the right, now that it got some stuff on it, okay. Make this work. So there's lots of different ways to store this. There's no right or wrong way. Just do whatever you can with what you've got. So a couple notes before I get into kind of finishing up those cinnamon roll overnight oats. The overnight oats just in general, including this recipe, are really great to make ahead of time. So a couple of options for you using whatever container or bowl or whatever you have. You can make one serving for the next morning, or you can make a couple servings for a few days. Kind of batch make them because it's gonna take, what, maybe a minute or two longer if you're making extras, or even just the same amount of time if you're making it all in one container. You could, you know, put it all in a jar or a container that's larger and then divvy it up the morning of or when you're gonna eat it. And then you can adjust as much and have as much as you want. So that's another option too. Breakfasts, especially quick breakfasts, are game changers in the morning, and that's why I really like overnight oats. All right, so I've got my overnight oats, and like I mentioned before, it kind of dawned on me that butter is something that you can add as much as you want. I'll start with this maybe. You can add some butter to your overnight oats to make it feel more like a cinnamon roll, because there's butter in cinnamon rolls, usually, always. So obviously the butter's not gonna melt. If you want it cold, I would try melted butter, but also it's gonna solidify. I highly recommend eating these oats hot because it's really gonna bring out the aromas of the cinnamon and also some vanilla, and it's gonna feel more like cinnamon roll. So let me take this to the microwave. Well, is it as good as the cinnamon roll? I'm not sure, let's see. So this is a little tiny bit liquidy. I kinda like it like this. It's not gonna be dry, but you can always adjust the liquid as you want. And give it a quick taste. That's really good. To turn them up one more notch, I'm gonna add a little bit more cinnamon and also some chopped nuts. Make it a little bit different, have something different. Clean up my bowl. So easy. You can always add more of any of the ingredients. Actually, I totally forgot to put salt in it, so I'm gonna put a pinch of salt. Salt is just really nice to add because it enhances the flavors of what's in here, and a little pop of kosher salt is always nice. So let's see how it is. Okay, so I have my cinnamon roll overnight oats. They're nice and warm, which I really like. They feel more like a cinnamon roll. Of course, they're overnight oats, not a cinnamon roll, so they're not gonna be exactly like a cinnamon roll, but there are so many toppings that you could add to these. Like I added nuts, you could add raisins, which actually sound really good. I wonder if that sounds good to you at all, but you could do that, add the butter like I did to see how much it's gonna taste just like a cinnamon roll, or if it's gonna taste more like a cinnamon roll, I guess. We're not gonna be able to get just like a cinnamon roll. This is not a cinnamon roll. So yeah, I'm really excited to try this. I really like the texture of this and the added crunch and different textures in here because of the flax seeds, which you can also swap for chia seeds or flax meal. That's not gonna change the texture, like add something crunchy, but the nuts do. So let's see. I think a little bit more brown sugar is gonna bring out more of that cinnamon roll flavor, and even maybe a little bit more cinnamon actually. Cinnamon's kind of funny. I feel like my preference for them changes day by day, But that's a really easy change to make in the recipe and then also afterward. Does it taste just like a cinnamon roll? No, it doesn't. It's not a cinnamon roll. It's not as sweet as a cinnamon roll. And then I feel like half of the fun of a cinnamon roll is the textures of it and the eating part of it. And this is not that, which is fine. This is much easier, quicker, and it's gonna be more satisfying too. I really like cinnamon rolls, but I feel like I'd have to eat like 4 or 5 of them in order to feel as satisfied as I would with this, with the added stomachache. So, you know, we've got trade-offs either way, but either way, this is delicious and very easy. Okay, I actually just added a little bit more cinnamon and a little bit more brown sugar, like I mentioned, because let's actually try it for real. I think I have it all mixed in. We'll see. Yeah, I think especially the cinnamon is really nice in it, and it tastes more like a cinnamon roll. Highly recommend. Well, thanks for watching, but before we go, I'm curious, what kinds of toppings would you like to add to these cinnamon roll overnight oats? Nuts? How about the butter? If you have seen recipes out there like I have that say these cinnamon roll overnight oats are just as good as cinnamon rolls, have you made those? What did you think? Were they as good? I kind of don't think there's such a thing. These are good. I would eat them lots of times, but if I want a cinnamon roll, it's not a cinnamon roll. Not at all. And that's okay. The different things. So thanks again for tuning in and watching until the end. Subscribe for more videos like this and recipes to show you how to use up what you have and how to not follow the recipe. Thanks.